I am Atman. I'm here to share the human journey with you. And you are all, we're all one, we're all consciousness, and we're all the I am. And so this is my first video, and I wanted to talk today about imagination. And what is imagination? So the way we have conceived imagination in our education and when we're little is, imagination is an escape. It's something that does not match reality. And when we're kids, we're daydreaming and we're reading books and watching movies and imagining ourselves in wonderful lands with wonderful creatures and exploring. And sometimes our parents are telling us to just come back to reality, and in school happens a lot. And one of the things that we do even later on in our adult life is what I call vicarious imagining, which is essentially not imagining anything that's totally related to us, but maybe imagining what other people feel like, or, movie stars, or just recreating scenes in our minds that could be scenes lived by other people, not necessarily our own. And what I would like to convey is that this is a little bit of a loss of power when we do that. And I would just like to suggest a different view of imagination. So imagination is really a creative act, and that's really kind of the foundation for human civilization. I mean, everything you see around you, and I'm not the first one to say it, and I think there's people like, I'm referring to people like Neville Goddard and then other types of teachers, and then going back to even Egyptian teachers who say, essentially everything that we see in reality originates from our imagination, cities, machines, everything that's pretty much created by men. And if we want to expand and on that, we can see that everything in the universe is created by maybe what we call the higher universal consciousness. But it's a creative act. And I will go beyond that in the sense that, of course, it originates in the mind as imagination, but that imagination brings forth the actualization of the images that we're seeing. So I'm going to talk about what is referred to deliberate imagining, which is really a willing act, a choice of our mind to focus our mind on particular images of things that we want to create for our lives. It could be a new house, a new relationship. That could be things that we want circumstances to change in our jobs, circumstances to change in our life, and that we can actually choose to be the scenario writer of these images and create these images in our minds. So to do this kind of approach, first we have to decide what we want. And what we want is really the basis, because sometimes we are just like bobbing like a little boat on the wide, broad ocean, and we're getting rocked, side to side by the ocean, not really knowing which direction we want to go. I mean, I'm exaggerating a little bit, but we might feel that way. And one of the really interesting question that we want to ask ourselves is, what do I really want? Because often in our lives, we don't dare making choices. We don't feel that maybe we're worthy to decide what we want, because we're told, this is all you can hope for your life by others, by coming from the past, our ancestors, our family history, and so on. But this is really important to actually sit down and really determine what it is that we want. And the key is that it has to resonate with our heart's desire, the innermost heart's desire. So I invite you to really spend a little time doing something called the vision exercise, which is to really sit down in a quiet place, kind of a meditative state, and visualize maybe something simple, like a vision of where you want your life to be. And it could be very material. I mean, often people take examples of having a new car and visualizing yourself driving that new car and how it feels, and all the sensations of speed, the sensation of holding the wheel, the steering wheel, and shifting gears, and so on and so forth. And I think this is something that we can build to, because building a complete vision of our life seems to be extremely challenging. But imagining certain scenes that reflect, maybe a particular conversation that we would like to have with our boss, but a conversation that is nurturing and that is positive. Maybe we're experiencing some difficulties in our jobs and we feel a little stressed. And the vision exercise could help you switch in your mind the difficulties that you have by visualizing a completely different scenario, a completely different scene, and I would project that scene. And this is the idea of the imagination as a tool, is that it actually projects in your reality the idea, and it makes it transforms it into a new reality. So, as recommended by people like Neville Goddard and other teachers, one of the great thing about this tool, and it's really resting on the idea of faith and the idea of believing is seeing. And so first to really involve ourselves emotionally in our vision. And if it's really a vision that resonates, then we're really going to feel that it's something that we want. And then assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. The wish would be that vision and that particular scene or that particular result that we want to see. And projecting yourself in that scene as an actor would project and feel what the character feels. You're essentially kind of like almost in your mind being the person, the new character that you want to define, the new person that you want to define. And maybe it's about feeling confident, maybe it's about feeling peace and joy. And so you want to feel and see the goal as already done. There's no pressure there, and that's really important. It has to be done in a light-hearted way. When you say already done, that means you're really seeing in your mind's eye the actual achievement and what it would be like, the people that would be around you, and maybe they would congratulate you on your achievement. Maybe you would sit at the dinner or lunch table with all the people that you love, and then you see yourself being relaxed and just sitting there and smiling and observing people having a good time. And that could be one of the things that you want to focus on. And as Neville Goddard, recommends, it's really important to hold the vision, not in a tense way, but it's just kind of having sort of a ritual where you are spending a little time every day, and probably before bedtime is the best time, to a few minutes to visualize in your mind that vision. And one of the key things is that we are often pulled back by what we perceive as our current circumstances are as being solid reality, and it really is something that we might be feeling that we have a hard time moving past our current circumstances. But people like Neville Goddard and Joe Dispenza and other people really say that you just have to really hold the vision of that that self, that person that you want to be, and the circumstances that surround you, the new circumstances, no matter what the current reality is. There are other people like Justin Perry that you can look online who say the same thing. One of the things that gets in our way of exercising this power, which is the power of otherwise called manifestation. And I'm not really talking about magic here because in a way, when we are incorporating in ourselves, in our way of being, that vision of ourselves, for some strange reason, and I think most people will agree, we tend to attract other people and circumstances that match this new vision and this transformation in ourselves. It has happened to me in my life many times when I would set a goal and the right people would show up to make that goal a reality. And one of the things that we find is that when we are stepping out of that flow and just keeping that vision close to us, and we get into reactive mode. Reactive mode is really perceiving the circumstances around us as being the truth, and we are emotionally affected by that, maybe feeling depressed or something. And that's a reaction, that's an emotional reaction. And this type of reaction will pull you away from your heart's desire because it mobilizes your energy, it mobilizes your mind. So there are really interesting applications of imagination. You can imagine things that are for your own life, but you can also apply imagination for others. You can actually help others in a sense by imagining, for instance, somebody who's been sick, imagining them in full health. And this is kind of the trap that we most of us feel and fall into when we deal with people that are sick in our lives, that we meet acquaintances or friends or relatives that we're taught to feel some sort of a sympathy and sympathize with their pain, and in doing so we just keep feeding what I'll call it vibration, which is a term that I haven't used it, but we keep feeling that vibration of victimhood and that vibration of that person being at the mercy of the illness. And rather than imagining them in full health, and which takes a little bit of choosing in our minds to do that. I mean, we really have to create that image, but this is how we can really help people. So thanks very much, and I'll do another video very soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.